This video will instruct you on how to enter matrices into your calculator, and in this case I will be solving the system of equations using one of the operations on matrices. Be aware that you can do lots of operations on matrices once you have them entered in your calculator, including adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, and of course inverses. So I've taken my system of equations and I've written that into my matrix. So I'm going to go to my matrix key, which happens to be second matrix over top of the x to the -1 button. And you'll see here that it's waiting. Well, these are the names of my particular matrix. I'm going to cursor over to edit because I need to put in my matrix. So enter. Then here it says matrix A, and it has 1 by 1. Well, a 1 by 1 matrix is the size. Well, when I look at my particular size here, it is 1, 2, 3 rows by 1, 2, 3, 4 columns, or 3 rows by 4 columns. So I'm going to put in 3 by 4. And as soon as I do that, you'll see that my matrix now opens up to allow me to put in 3 rows and 4 columns. Once I have that ready, I'm simply going to enter that matrix. So row 1, column 1, I want a 6 and enter. Row 1, column 2, -1, enter. Row 1, column 3, -9, enter. 5, enter. And notice it automatically takes me to the next row, so I can continuing enter, and you continue so forth. Okay, so now that I have all of the matrix entered, just for how I am, I like to check. Since I entered by rows, I check by columns. The last column should be 5, 6, 8. In fact, it is. Column 3, -9, -1, -8. It is. I'm going to cursor over to the left because part of it was off the screen. My second column was -1, 1, and my first column, in fact, was 6, 4, 8. Now that I have that matrix entered, I'm going to second quit and go back to my home screen. Now I'm ready to perform operations or do some solving on my matrix. So I'm going to go second, matrix. I'm going to cursor over to math. You can see that the one I've entered here is matrix A, and it is a 3 by 4. Go over to math. Lots of things that I can do on my matrix, and you can see them here. However, the one that I'm going to use today is to solve this equation. And there are two. One is reduced echelon form, and the next is row reduced echelon form. Depending upon what you're permitted to use in the calculator, you could use a reduced echelon form such as this, and I'll hit enter. What do I want the reduced echelon form of? I have to tell it which matrix. So I go to second matrix, choose number 1 because that's where it's stored, and hit enter. And it's going to solve that system of equations down to triangular form, another term, so that I could then use back substitution. Well, I have all of these ridiculous decimals. So little trick is I'm going to go to math and say number 1, change my answers to fraction form, and hit enter. So now I have this whole matrix in fractional form. Just going to pull my answer over and put it here on the smartboard. I know at this point that z is 4/5. I can then use z being 4/5 to back substitute into the second row to find y, and then once I have y and z, I can use any of my equations to then solve for x, y, and z in my system. Another possibility, if you're permitted to use it, is to second matrix, and at least at home you can always check your work. Go over to math and you're going to cursor down, and this time you're going to cursor down to not to the row reduced echelon form, and I'll choose that. Then again, we have to tell it which matrix. I'll go to my matrix menu, choose number 1, and hit enter, and it's going to give me all of the matrix completely solved, but it's going to give me in decimal form. Again, I can use my little trick, math, change it to a fraction, and hit enter. And now I have my matrix solved, and I know that z is 4/5, y is -4/5, and x is in fact 19/10. This is a great way to check your answers, even if you do have to perform all your work by hand.